Geez, this is probably Bong's worst English language movie. Bong Joon-ho, the Korean auteur who majestically won the Academy Award for Best Picture 5 years ago with Parasite. Parasite was a new classic. Bong Joon-ho's body of work is among the best out there, and now he returns to the English language with Mickey 17. He's taken on sci-fi again. We all loved him from The Host, where he took on the monster movie, and then Okja with that adorable pig. That was a little mixed, but then he had Snowpiercer, which was satire mixed with action. The man can do it all. So how does Mickey 17 stack up with his resume? Well, it's a little hit or miss. It pains me to report that Mickey 17 is a mixed bag, and dare I say it, a few things are lost in translation. Robert Pattinson plays the titular Mickey. He's a loser on Earth, basically, who, to get out of some debt, decides to become an expendable. That's a person who willfully volunteers their body and soul to be experimented on, tortured, killed, and basically treated like human garbage. And every time he dies, he's literally reprinted. And we get a new Mickey. Naturally, Mickey has a hard life, but he has a bright spot in Nasha, played by Naomi Ackie. They quickly fall in love, and she is his guiding light from Mickey's 1 through 17. They're on a spaceship headed for a planet to colonize, and the mission is led by the bloated, bloviating, wannabe dictator, Kenneth Marshall, played by Mark Ruffalo. This guy says all the right things, puffs up with all the right speeches, but we all know he's just in it for himself. Once they get to the new planet, there's a bit of a wrinkle. A roly-poly type creature lives there, and it complicates things not just for the mission, but for Mickey. First off, Bong is great at world building. There's so many little specific sci-fi details about this world, about how the printing works, about how you should really read the paperwork, but how they reconstitute materials and save Mickey's memories on a hard drive that's actually a brick, so they can respawn him and he'll have his memories from before. This is not a new sci-fi concept. We've gotten Moon, we've gotten Oblivion. Those both dealt with clones, but in a very grim, serious manner. Mickey 17 is a full-blown comedy, make no mistake, and Robert Pattinson totally commits. If the premise sounds like a live-action Rick and Morty episode, Pattinson's kind of doing a live-action Rick and Morty character. We forget long ago when he was doing those Twilight movies how much Pattinson was a punching bag, how we said he couldn't act, he didn't have charisma, he was one note. But since then, Pattinson has more than proven himself to be a top-tier actor, and his offbeat, strange choices totally make the character of Mickey unique. Is it grating and often too much? Sure. But it's of a piece with this quirky world that Bong is building. The sci-fi elements are complemented with incredible special effects and really good sound design. What I do have qualms with is the satire. Bong is not a subtle filmmaker, and if you've seen his past works, he really likes to take a stab at capitalism and expose all the ills of it. Hey, who doesn't? But Mickey 17's satire is way too clumsy, uncharacteristically clumsy for Bong. And it mostly has to do with the Mark Ruffalo character. Let's see, he's a blowhard, arrogant, only cares about himself, gives long-winded speeches, cares about the media spotlight, and could give two shits about human beings being expendable. I wonder who that is. Oh, and his followers slash fans have red hats that they like to wear. I'm all for satire about our current 2025 predicament, but Bong, what are you doing, buddy? This ain't it. Besides being so obvious, it's tethered to Ruffalo's over-the-top performance. And make no mistake, he is doing a Trump impression here, straight down to the voice and mannerisms. And it feels like bad sketch comedy. Ruffalo, I love you, but this is probably your worst performance. Here he's dialed up so much, It's almost like he's asking for laughs just because he's putting on a funny voice. Pattinson has a funny voice, but he's asking for sympathy, and we learn to really like this lovable loser. But it doesn't just extend to Ruffalo. The supporting actors in this are also at weird pitches with the film. Toni Collette plays Ruffalo's wife, and she is dialed up just as much in a really tough character, Space Karen! Likewise, Stephen Yeun kind of gets lost in the sauce as Mickey's sort of friend, who's a bit of a scumbag. And then there's another character played by Ana Maria Voltolome, a Romanian actress who's terrific in a movie a few years ago called Happening. She gets kind of wrapped up in Mickey, but then is completely dropped by the end of the movie. It becomes this big sci-fi stew where we're dealing with the ethics of cloning and capitalism and colonization and even romance. And Bong, for all his prowess, doesn't seem to be able to juggle all of it. In fact, he mostly gets wrapped up in the comedy. In Snowpiercer, there are a lot of little quirky details as well. In Okja, that movie's maybe the wackiest he's ever done. But like Tilda Swinton's British caricature in Snowpiercer and Tilda Swinton's overbearing corporate overlord in Okja, the absurdity pushes to the point of parody. Man, Tilda's really taken some hits today. If those details felt too wacky and out of place in those movies, it's way too much in this one. Those strange elements of Bong's Korean films make those sing, but in America, they really do weigh his English language films down. Pattinson does everything he can to anchor us through these outrageous situations, but even he is undone by a plot that drags on by the end, an epilogue with bizarre grace notes, and satire that just becomes way too ham-fisted by the end. Don't hate me, but unfortunately, I give Mickey 17 a forgettable 2.5 stars. Look, our auteurs miss. And for me, this was a miss from Bong. But I believe in Bong. And I know he's going to bounce back. If you like this review, please like and subscribe, or follow me on Letterboxd at RamirezS316. Oh man, Bong releasing a dud in 2025? I wish I could be cloned without my memories for this one. Aw.